Hey, this is Travis Gafford here at the LCS on the first day of spring playoffs for OnGamers.com. Joined by Voyboy, of course, fresh off of, well, a three-game set against Dignitas. You guys pulled it out. Your old team, and you have sent them packing. I saw a couple of them crying a moment ago, looking at you saying, how could you, how could you? And they go into Coast tomorrow. But let's talk about you, Voyboy. What did you think of Curse's performance in the match today?
We didn't play as well as we have been playing. We were able to win the match, but for example, we made a lot of really big blunders. Dignitas had an interesting strategy that we actually have never seen before, and that kind of threw us off, kind of threw us for a loop. It was a little bit cheesy, but we were able to like identify it and adapt to it over the course of the series. The first game, it didn't start off that great, but once we started getting into team fights and skirmishes, we actually started to get momentum back in our favor. And then for some, like we tunneled so hard on the mid push and like killing people, and we just like completely ignored the Lucian pushing top and the Jax pushing bot. So we basically lost two inhibs off that, and there was a lot of things that we could have done in that situation to prevent it going catastrophically wrong. But we just lost two inhibs for free. We didn't really get many kills out of it, and then as the super creeps came in, we had to deal with them. They just got Baron and they just ran down mid and like ended the game. And it was not the way we wanted to play the game out. Like we wanted to be like hyphy, look for fights, just like kill them all, and we just like we just weren't able to because of that one blunder, and that really bit us hard. But games 2 and 3, we were able to come back and just play pretty strong. It wasn't perfect. It's not enough. It's not gonna be enough to like take first here, but it was enough to beat Dig. And if we can just look at those mistakes, try to improve on them, and just play better tomorrow versus Cloud9, I think we have a really good shot of taking them down.
Now let's talk a little bit about the end of the first game. I was actually nearby watching with a owner of a prominent League of Legends team who you may have faced in the top lane previously, but will remain nameless to not name who that is. And he had some interesting reactions to what occurred. He described it in a number of different ways. I feel like the word solo queue came up at some point in time. But yeah, so what was the communication going on there? Because it was very strange to watch as we, and Dig actually were able to split push and get away. Like, was it just the teleport that you guys thought was going to be able to prevent that from happening, or what actually went down?
Yeah, so we thought that we'd be able to get the mid inhibitor, and we thought they were initially we just were reacting to the one wave being pushed, and then once we realized that Jax and Lucian were both like pushing and pushing really fast, we're like, okay, like Quas has to recall, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we should keep people mid. It was very frantic. We've never been put in that situation in a very long time, and those calls are always going to be very sketchy. Sometimes you're going to make the perfect call and you're going to like salvage it or like get huge momentum off it, and sometimes you're just going to make the wrong call, and that could be the whole game right there, which is what ended up happening. Quas's TP, his recall got canceled by Crumbs. I think they had a ward on him, so that delayed us, and he just eventually decided to TP on the top turret, but he wasn't able to stop Lucian from pushing anyway, and Jax took bot as well. So we just like instantly lost two inhibs at the same time. Super creeps came in, like I said, and it was really hard to come back from that point because we couldn't really just initiate on them, especially when the creeps were just wrecking into our base. So as soon as we made the mistake not to send people back and to just keep pushing mid, that was where we basically lost the game.
Now, leading up to this weekend and even at this weekend, there's been so much discussion around patch 4.5 and discussion around like, oh, it hit this team harder, but this team ended up really well. What did patch 4.5 make a or play a significant factor in your games against Dignitas today? And if so, how?
I don't think that the patch itself had that big of an impact. I think what we did was we didn't really run like too many strategies reliant to the new patch. We kind of just played a comp that we practiced a lot, and we've practiced multiple comps, so we're really prepared going into this playoffs, and we definitely have a few tricks up our sleeve. So I think the patch was interesting because a lot of teams didn't really know how to adapt to it and didn't instantly pick up on like the strongest pieces of puzzle. But I think as a team we've been able to just get used to it pretty well, and I think we all feel pretty comfortable on it.
Now tomorrow you face the juggernaut that is Cloud9 right now, top three team, and lots of people discuss top three, bottom five. Uh, what would you place your chances of beating Cloud9 tomorrow as?
I think I don't know percentage wise, but I think we have a really good shot. Like going into this week, we practiced against TSM, CLG, a number of other LCS teams, and we'd have like pretty even games versus TSM. decently even versus CLG as well, and then like we would just be shutting out almost every other LCS team that we scrimmed against. So I think that we're looking pretty strong, and like I said, if we can just show up, not make like the catastrophic blunders that we made against Dig, I think we have a good a shot as any of beating Cloud9 and going to the finals.
I know you said you couldn't put a percentage on it. What about like a fraction or a decimal number?
Okay, that's much easier. I would say like 6 out of 10.
There you go. 3 out of 5, even if you want to simplify that.
Sure. I mean, if you're gonna dock me points for that,
I mean, no, you're allowed, but I just,
I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at 6 out of 10.
when back in school they already said simplify the fractions, so hey, you mentioned that you had played against CLG and TSM both leading up to this, and tomorrow CLG and TSM kick off the day, big rivalry. What would you say, like, if you made a guess on one of those teams? What would you say?
I don't know. I think it's obviously going to be very close. TSM has not looked as good recently as they did like in the middle of the season, I would say. They're still obviously really strong. I think CLG has been on a bit of an upswing too. I would say it's slighted towards CLG, but honestly, anything could happen. And that's from the limited experience that we saw in like our games versus them.
So your response is not just TSM, TSM, TSM.
No, I think CLG has a really good shot of winning.
Let's see. What else to discuss with you? Hey, Steve actually just announced recently that Curse is breaking off, or Team Curse is breaking off from the Curse organization. I don't know. I expect that from the player perspective. You're like, well, I just still sit in my house and play video games all day. But any thoughts on that from your perspective?
Yeah, so Steve basically made like the original Curse team. He founded the initial roster that started playing league tournaments, and it got sponsored by Curse, and it kind of became into what we know as Curse Gaming today. And Steve works really hard. He's always on the lookout to just like pick up new players, help grow other esports teams and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the biggest things that he's trying to do with his company. And like we just picked up 2 Smash players. The Smash scene's getting a bit of a resurgence. So I think that Steve will do really, really good things with just like 100% behind the wheel. And I'm looking forward to seeing that.
If you could force Steve to pick up players in a certain game or title that he doesn't, that you guys don't have yet, what would that be?
I don't know. I really wanted him to get Smash players, and he got Smash players. So that was my big like caveat. But honestly, whatever seems good. I like playing Smash, and it's cool that we got Hungry Box and Chillin' Dude.
If there were other LCS general managers in the room right now with us from other teams, and you wanted to, like, would you advise them to also pick up Smash players?
I think so. I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot more events. I mean, this turned into like a bunch of Smash questions, but it's a really fun game, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
Well, you don't think it's going anywhere?
Oh, I mean, like it's not. Shoot, it's gonna grow. The game will be around. People have been playing it in like grassroots tournaments and stuff like that for a long time, and now like there's after like the Smash documentary and stuff like that, there's a lot of mainstream support as well, which is just gonna help the scene flourish.
So then, like, you would think it's cool to root for Curse over CLG if Curse and CLG both had Smash teams.
Yeah, sure, and obviously in League too.
In League as well. Oh, you would root for Curse over CLG in League?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know. Maybe you.
I'm not a trader.
Yeah. Not yet. That money hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. You have any shout outs, plugs, anything you want to say?
Thank you, obviously, to our fans. It wasn't a great season. We started off on a really bumpy road, and I got a little emotional talking about it, like at the Riot Desk interview. But this really means a lot to us, and we're really proud of how much we've improved and how good we've become. We might not be the best definitively in North America yet, but we're definitely practicing our hearts out like each and every day to get there. And we're right now guaranteed top 4 finish. We're vying for that number 1 spot and to represent you guys at Paris, obviously. So that's what we're shooting for. Even if it doesn't happen, we're just gonna keep improving and try to be a top tier team in North America for the next split that you guys can be proud of.
Anything else?
Yeah, of course. Shouts to our sponsors. Thanks for all the support. Cooler Master, Alienware, Nissan, G2A, Absolute LoJack, Azubu, and Energems.
Anything that you like to talk to people on?
Curse Voice, obviously. go download it.
Thank you so much for the interview. Really appreciate the insight and all that kind of stuff, especially fun to hear you talk about Smash and that kind of thing. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things LCS at ongamers.com.